What's up, Shadow Nerds? Man, it's good to see y'all. I am back with another video series today about my top 5, so we'll get into that in a second. With that being said, subscribe to the channel, like it, share, tell all your friends, tell your mama, all that stuff. It is still cold as hell here. I'm just not used to it. I'm also, since I gotta pay my own electric, I don't have the AC on or the heat on, so sitting in my own crib in sweats and a hoodie. But whatever, fuck y'all. Anyways, I did my top 5 Marvel. If you haven't seen it, go check that video out. Movie, video, whatever. Go check that video out. I did my top 5 DC movies. Go check that video out as well. Both got great responses. Today, I am combining them all into a super list almost. The top 5 comic book movies of all time. Now, what exactly does that mean? That means if it was a movie with a character or whatever based off of a comic originally, not necessarily like the story has to be from a specific comic, but if the character, its main source material came from a comic, it counts, okay? Doesn't have to be Marvel or DC. We're talking IDW, Dark Horse, we're talking Vertigo, Mirage, I mean, anybody. If there was a character that started and originated in a comic book and eventually somehow got its own movie, okay, that's what this list is for. So let's get into it. This was really freaking hard. I mean, the other two were hard. This was really hard. I'm talking about 150 titles that I looked at, and from that I was shocked as to how many of them were actually based off comic book movies, so I had to do a little research. But titles that I have seen the movies to, and I was like, damn, that's really based off a comic? Had no fucking clue, okay? So I started with about 150 titles that I looked at. American, by the way. This does not include manga, because there's too many. I'm not super familiar with it. I know like 2 off the top of my head that we made it here in America that didn't do too well. So I'm not counting any of that. Went from 150, I narrowed it down to 15, and then from that 15, I narrowed it down to 5, and that was extremely hard. I mean, I could have easily done a top 20, probably, but I narrowed it down to 5 just for pure entertainment purposes and keeping this video short. I'm going to tell you my 2 runner-ups right off the bat that could have easily made it into the top 5, and if somebody else is making the list, they could easily put them in there, okay? So without delaying too much, let's get into it. I don't own all these on hard copy, but whatever. My first runner-up on the top 5 is Kick-Ass. Okay, I really like this movie. Hit Girl, Kick-Ass, Nicolas Cage, Chloe Grace Moretz, all that kind of stuff. Really good movie. Did originate from a comic. This is basically based off of Volume 1 of the Kick-Ass series. And I think it was John Romita Jr., who is a big comic book artist as well. He draws a lot of comic books and stuff. I've seen him mostly in DC, but yeah. Kick-Ass, good movie. If you have seen it, I wouldn't be surprised. If you haven't seen it, I am surprised. They did a second one. But I really like this movie. So that was a runner-up. Very easily could have been in the top 5 for me. My other runner-up is one that I did not actually include in my top 5 in the DC list, but The Dark Knight. Not The Dark Knight Rises, which I put in my top 5, but greatest of all time, top 5. I got to put The Dark Knight in there, okay? Between Batman himself, Christian Bale, and Joker, Heath Ledger, legendary performances, great, amazing story. Easily could have been in the top 5, and for most people it probably is. So those are my 2 runner-ups. Okay, my number 5 favorite comic book movie of all time, or with something based off of a comic book. This one is pure nostalgia. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1991, the first one, the original one, okay? When they had real martial artists in actual suits doing everything, all the moves and all that kind of stuff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started in 84, drawn by Kevin Eastman, as a creator or whatever. So when that movie came out, I think I was 3, but when I finally started watching it when I was 6, 7, 8, and so on, I love that movie. I've always loved it. The second one was great too. And then it went downhill from there. We all know about the Michael Bay shit. Not even going to count that or talk about that, but I just love that movie. Those were my childhood, man. Like, nothing will ever beat them. I'll probably still watch them when I'm 80. These new kids these days probably don't even freaking know about that one or the second one, The Secret of the Ooze, whatever. They need to get on it. It's a great movie. I love that movie. Okay, number 4. This was hard. I'm going to go X-Men Days of Future Past, okay? Some of the X-Men movies are really underrated. I don't know why, but it was between that and, what's the other one? First Class, also a good movie. But I chose Days of Future Past, really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should. I mean, you got Professor X and Magneto eventually coming into their own and who they really become in the future, kind of branching off. You also still got Hugh Jackman in there playing Wolverine, who did a great job about that. And then you got Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique going in there, all that stuff. Great story. I would put it ahead of First Class by this much, and for that reason, it's on my top 5. Number 3. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but I remember it being amazing, and I had to reread up on it just to re-remember everything, pretty much. V for Vendetta. A lot of people, it's some of their favorites when I go out and talk to them. They say V for Vendetta is definitely one of their favorites. It's based off a DC comic back in the day, or maybe Vertigo, but it was under DC, I don't remember, but a long time ago. But anyways, it's a good movie, and I mean, it really reflects what's going on in society today, especially the past 4 years. With if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler, but there's like a virus, there's like a that type of deal, there's like a pandemic. Okay, ring any bells? There's also like a government that has pretty much gets rid of all the undesirables according to that society, like gays and the sickly and African Americans and this culture and that culture. I mean, anything that this society deemed undesirable, they kind of just shoot away and killed and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately and sadly, it really reflects what has gone on the past umpteen years with everything. So, political wise, the social aspect of it, really, it's a very impactful movie. And was it Natalie Portman is in that movie as well? Good movie, good cast. If you haven't seen it, please see it. So for that, it's at my number 3. Number 2, I love this movie. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, okay? They can kiss my ass. Number 2 is 300, okay? Gerard Butler as King Leonidas, all based off the 300 story written by, I want to say, Frank Miller. Great series as well. But, this is all based off the Battle of Thermopylae back in whatever with the Spartans and, the 300 or whatever. The reality is there was, a shit ton of them, but they really fought, a shit ton more of them. The numbers were still ridiculously unfair. But 300, I love that movie. Gerard Butler, there's so many lines in that movie that are freaking quotable for the rest of my life. I will always be yelling Sparta. I will always be, anytime I see anybody kick somebody straight in the chest, like UFC or whatever, to me that's a freaking Spartan kick because of what he does in that movie. Badass movie. I love it. The fight scenes, the imagery. Hate on Zack Snyder all you fucking want. You're going to get it shoved in your mouth in the next few months anyway when Justice League comes out. Okay, but the dude knows how to film a movie artistically and the looks of it wise. And that movie's a great example of it, man. I love the 300. Number 1. This movie is so good that I have literally only seen it maybe 3 times. Because it's really hard to watch. As a fan, it very easily sucks you in. I gotta go Logan, okay? It's that good. Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman's last time as Wolverine is in this, supposedly, as of right now anyway. The little girl, I forget her name, I know she ends up being like is X-13 or something or whatever. It's been probably a year since I watched this movie. Easily the best comic book movie of all time, in my opinion. His performance in that as Logan was amazing. Patrick Stewart, man, the dude was just, he killed it, right? He made you want to cry. He made you want to laugh a few times. But that movie is serious. It damn near makes me cry every time I see Logan die at the end. Spoiler if you haven't seen it. And that little girl's acting skills, awesome. The fight scenes in that movie are badass, dude. I mean, the girl, again, spoiler, the girl gets a spear through the chest and then like chops it off and just keeps fighting. I mean, the movie's amazing. So for that reason, that's my number one. I really can hardly watch it because it's not just sad at the end, but it's also emotionally like draining. You're like, holy fuck. It's a heavy movie for it being a freaking Marvel movie. You know, well, X-Men, but you know, Fox and all that stuff. But you get the point. So definitely number one in my book. I should probably watch it again and just kind of get over it and just watch it and like re-stomach it. It's that damn good. So yeah, there's my top 5. TMNT from 1990, X-Men Days of Futures Past, V for Vendetta, 300, and Logan as my number 1. So what's your guys' top 5? Let me know in the comments down below. What did I get wrong? What would you put in your top 5? And which one in my top 5 are you like, no way, get that the fuck out of here? Let me know. Again, tell your mama, tell your friends, like, subscribe to the channel. All that being said, man, Shadow Nerds out.